A main theological theme of our Unitarian Universalist faith is the interconnectedness of all. Our call to worship this morning speaks to that theme and was written by Judy Chicago. And then all that divided will merge, and then compassion will be wedded to power, and then softness will come to a world that is harsh and unkind. And then both men and women will be gentle. And then both women and men will be strong. And then no person will be subject to another's will. And then all will be rich and free and varied. And then the greed of some will give way to the needs of many, and then all will share equally in the earth's abundance, and then all will care for the sick, the weak, and the old, and then all will nourish the young, and then all will cherish life's creatures, and then all will live in harmony with each other and the earth, and then everywhere will be called Eden once again. Come, let us worship together. Does anyone ask you, what does it mean to be a Unitarian Universalist? Does any of your friends ever ask you that? No? Do you tell them that? No? Why do you not tell them? Any reason? That's a good answer. So what we're talking about, I know in your religious exploration classes, you guys are going to be talking about trees, which is one of my favorite things to talk about. And in here, we're sort of talking about growing and spreading also. We're talking about what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist and how you might be able to answer somebody if they ask you what that is. So I have a song, and I was told that you know this song. Does that look familiar? Okay, so you haven't sung it in a while, so I will apologize to the congregation. I have a cold, so I'm going to sing with a cold, but and we're going to ask you to help also. It's to the tune of Doe a Deer, okay? And the words are on the screens for the rest of the congregation, and we're going to sing it 2 times through because actually, as an adult, I use this sort of as my cheat sheet when someone asks me, well, what are the 7 Unitarian Universalist principles? I have to sing this song in my head, and then I can remember what the 7 principles are. So it's a good thing to have in your back pocket for everyone. Okay, so let's go. And it's, the very end says, that will bring us back to me and you. Okay, and then we'll sing it 1 time through again. Okay, so you guys, do you remember this song? Okay, so we're going to lead the adults in this one. All right, ready? Here we go. 1, each person is important. 2, be kind in all you do. 3, we're free to learn together. 4, and search for what is true. 5, all people need a voice. 6, build a fair and peaceful world. 7, we care for Earth's lifeboat. That will bring us back to me and you. 1, each person is important. 2, be kind in all you do. 3, we're free to learn together. 4, and search for what is true. 5, all people need a voice. 6, build a fair and peaceful world. 7, we care for Earth's lifeboat. That will bring us back to me and you. Perfect. All right. Nicely done. Nicely done. So if ever you need those words, I'll actually get you some little flyers that have it on there, and you can take them home. So I'll get those for you in a few weeks. It comes from Václav Havel, and he writes, It is I who must begin. Once I begin, once I try, here and now, right where I am, not excusing myself by saying that things would be easier elsewhere, without grand speeches and ostentatious gestures, but all the more persistently to live in harmony with the voice of being as I understand it within myself. As soon as I begin that, I suddenly discover, to my surprise, that I am neither the only one, nor the first, nor the most important one to have set out upon the road. Whether all is really lost or not depends entirely on whether or not I am lost. Please join me now in a few moments of silence, listening to that voice of being in each of us. We're going to do a responsive reading, and I chose this responsive reading because I liked what it said and it fit with what I'll be talking about, but also because who it was written by. It was written by the Reverend Olympia Brown, who lived 1835 to 1926. And she is regarded as the first woman to graduate from a theological school, as well as become the first full-time ordained minister, and she was a Universalist minister. So she's one of my heroes. So I'll start, and then please do the italicized. Stand by this faith, work for it, and sacrifice for it.
There is nothing in all the world so important as to be loyal to this faith, which has placed before us the loftiest ideals,
which has comforted us in sorrow, strengthened us for noble duty, and made the world beautiful.
Do not demand immediate results, but rejoice that we are worthy to be entrusted with this great message.
That you are strong enough to work for a great true principle without counting the cost.
Go on finding ever new applications of these truths and the enjoyments in their contemplation, always trusting in the one God, which ever lives and loves.
And I put that on the back of your orders of service also, so you can take it home. There was a young family of 3, a dad, a mom, and a 4-year-old daughter. This family was close friends with another family, the mom's brother, who also had a 4-year-old daughter. And one day, the 4-year-old girls decided that they would have a sleepover. And the first 4-year-old girl had a lot of fun at her cousin's, except for one part of the weekend that bothered her. So when she got home and her mom and dad asked, "How was your weekend?" she looked them squarely in the eyes and said, "Did you know that the 2 of you are going to burn in hell?" Well, if you haven't guessed it already, the mom and dad in the story are me and my husband, Gary, and the 4-year-old girl was our daughter, Naomi. True story. And what happened next was that Gary and I looked at each other in amazement and a little bit of shock, and we realized that we needed to find a religious and spiritual home, a group of free-thinking, ethical people who would support us as we raised our children. And so I remembered that when I was in college, I had worked with a couple from the Sepulveda Unitarian Universalist, or UU congregation, for many months as we helped garner enough signatures for a ballot initiative. I remembered that I was so impressed that this couple had the full support of their congregation in the work that they were doing. And I remembered that the religion that they belonged to had a really long and funny name. After tracking down the name, Unitarian Universalist, we sought out a local UU congregation and visited. As we walked onto the grounds of that UU church the very first day, we heard Pink Floyd's The Wall blasting from the sanctuary. Of course, as fate would have it, we were there for Youth Sunday. I turned to Gary and I shook my head in amazement, shrugged my shoulders and said, "We're home. We're home." I wonder how many of you have had a similar experience in finding Live Oak in that way, an experience of coming home, like finally being able to exhale. Like maybe you weren't the only salmon in the river swimming against the current. Does this resonate with anyone? Each of us comes with our own unique story, perhaps with similar threads, and together we're weaving this beautiful community that we call home. I hope that after service today, you make it a point to share your story, how you came to be here with someone else. What was your path? What holds you in this community? Now, the strange thing about my story is that I am an avowed non-joiner. At that point in my life, I didn't want any labels. I didn't want to join anything, no organizations. At one point, a rabbi who was a friend of mine he said, "Oh, you know, Tamara, you're a feminist." And I said, "No, of course I was, but I didn't want the label on me." But there I was, absolutely taken by this faith that we proudly call our home from day one. And at first I told myself that we were there for Naomi and then Greg for their religious education. And indeed, attending church as a family each week and raising our children as UUs was one of the best parenting decisions that we made. And the good thing is our kids agree for that one. But what we didn't expect was this, that as time went by, Gary and I grew ever deeper in our connection to this faith, and it has both challenged and sustained us for over 22 years. I cannot imagine how empty our lives would be without the people who are our Unitarian Universalist brothers and sisters, and also this sense of standing in the stream, a living stream of history. We have such a rich and amazing history of our faith. Our roots run deep, and we are an optimistic and compassionate people. We have a long and proud history of looking both inward to develop our own spirituality and bonds of friendship in our congregations, and also looking outward and participating and leading social justice movements of our day. Both Unitarians and Universalists, and after 1961, Unitarian Universalists, have been leaders in many social justice movements. Unitarian preacher Theodore Parker was a prominent abolitionist, defending fugitive slaves and offering support to American abolitionist John Brown. Universalist Charles Spear called for prison reform, and Clara Barton went from Civil War angel of the battlefield to become the founder of the American Red Cross. Unitarians such as Dorothea Dix fought to break the chains of people incarcerated in mental hospitals, and Samuel Gridley Howe started schools for the blind. Equal rights, civil rights, environmental justice, the rights of gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender people, economic rights, the list goes on, and we UUs are consistently at the forefront of these movements, working to free people from whatever bonds oppress them. Our optimism carries over into the theological realm as well. Thomas Starr King, who is credited with defining the difference between Unitarians and Universalists in this way, Universalists believe that God is too good to damn people, and the Unitarians believe that people are too good to be damned by God. Either way you slice it, our optimism runs deep. Just an aside about Thomas Starr King, because he's one of our forefathers that all UUs, especially UUs in California, should know about. He was a Unitarian minister in San Francisco who in the early 1860s spoke zealously in favor of preserving the Union and was credited by Abraham Lincoln with preventing California from becoming a separate republic. Unfortunately, he died in 1864 at age 40 of exhaustion from his intensive speaking schedule. But we actually had a statue of him back in the rotunda in DC until he was demoted. I won't tell you who took his place. Our history is rich with person after person standing up, lifting their voice, sometimes alone, sometimes in community, fighting for a better world for all. And it's not only in the social justice realm that we shine. We have formed well over 1,000 religious communities, churches, congregations, societies, and fellowships. All are gathered around our 7 principles, spring theologically from our 6 sources, and all covenant or promise to walk together in religious community to live out these principles and values. But here's the rub. Many times we are trying so hard to live out our first principle and honor the worth and dignity of each person that we mistakenly feel that we should be silent about this faith movement that we love, that sustains us, and yes, that saves lives. We don't want to intrude or press our beliefs on someone else. We feel free to share the wonderful vacation that we just went on, a great sale at a local store, but we remain silent about this, one of the most important and life-giving aspects of our lives. Sometimes I've even heard Unitarian Universalist parents say that they don't want to press their beliefs on their own children, so they refrain from sharing their views. We have totally missed the mark on this one. We should be shouting it from the rooftops. Look what we have here, folks. A religion that encourages each of us to live better lives as we pursue our individual spiritual journeys in community. A religion that opens its arms wide and includes all in a loving embrace, not expecting perfection, but expecting all to agree to the covenant, the promise of how we will treat each other in community. A religion that brings us hope for the future, encourages us to live with wonder and awe in every day. A religion that actively works to help and heal people, beings, and the world around us. There's a new movement afoot, perhaps you might have heard of it. It's coming this spring to Santa Barbara Ventura area, and it bills itself as a godless congregation that meets to hear great talks, sing songs, and generally celebrate the wonder of life. The people that this group is trying to attract are Unitarian Universalists who just don't know it yet. But we have so much more than this other group can offer with our amazing and proud history and our inclusiveness of people who do believe in God. We're not a godless congregation. We have many among us who are theists and identify the holy in many ways. Or they might be unsure and searching, or they might be from a family that has different faith traditions. Our arms are open wide. Close your eyes for a moment. Now picture yourself sitting here this morning as you are in your chair, just you. Now expand to picture the person sitting next to you. Now expand to picture everyone who's sitting here in this beautiful sanctuary of ours. Now expand to our neighbors your neighbors in Goleta, in Santa Barbara. People who look at our website trying to see whether this might be a home for them too. People who are hungry for a community of loving people who may not always behave like angels, but are truly trying to be the best they can be, and who have promised to stay in relationship and work through issues and conflicts constructively in love. And now expand your vision even farther and picture other Unitarian Universalist congregations all around the United States, all around the world, coming together this morning to pay attention to the important things in life, to laugh, maybe cry together, to gain strength for the week ahead, to join together and stand on the side of love. What a powerful, powerful vision that is. You can open your eyes now. I think sometimes we forget how expansive our faith really is. This is what we have to offer: hope, joy, solace, community, music, healing, friends, laughter, intellectual challenge, a better life, a healthier life, a changed life, a saved life. Who are we to sit on this franchise and, in the words of the Christian New Testament, hide our light under a bushel? Let's spread the UU gospel, the good news of what we have found here, to the world. In fact, let's start right now. If you can, and you're so inclined, please take out your phone. One of the few times I'll have you do this. And tweet, send a text, put up a Facebook post, whatever modality is comfortable for you. Tell people where you are. Make sure to include the name of our congregation, and just say how much you love this congregation, whatever it is. Invite everyone to come to our service next week, and invite them to stay after service for our Super Sunday, where we'll eat all together. And next week, if you see people here that you don't know, make an effort to reach out and chat with them. Now, I'm an introvert myself, and my first time at a Unitarian Universalist church, I remember really wishing that I could be invisible. It takes a bit of courage to come to a new place for the first time. So each of us, every single Sunday, should think of ourselves as warm and welcoming hosts and hostesses, welcoming all who come as if they're long-lost family members who we're welcoming home again. All right, how many of you are spreading the word right now on your phones? Nice. All right, keep at it. And please feel free to do this every Sunday. It doesn't have to necessarily be during my sermon, but at some point on a Sunday, you are welcome to tweet and text and let people know. And if that's not a comfortable modality, talk to your neighbor, call someone up. Talk about a song that's moved you, how the message of the sermon might have comforted or challenged you, how good it is to be together, how our children and youth have a safe place to explore life's questions, whatever strikes you on a given Sunday. We must be evangelistic in our desire to spread the good news of what we found here. Evangelism simply means to reach out to as many people as possible who may be receptive to our life-saving, life-giving message of hope and connection. Our very theology compels us to live this connection in a very real way, to see ourselves as interconnected and in relationship, not as isolated people or even isolated congregations We're part of this larger faith movement with the privileges and responsibilities inherent in this relationship to carry this message out into our community. Our freedom, our hope, and our future is linked together. Sharing our faith is not optional. It's not just icing on the cake. Sharing our faith is part of what each and every one of us should be burning to do. If you're a religious person, which by sitting here today you've indicated you are, then hopefully you are a grateful person. Grateful for this congregation, grateful for friends and community, grateful for all the good that flows to you. And if you are a grateful person, hopefully you're also a generous person, generous with your time and resources, and generous in understanding that this faith is not something for us to hold on to. It's for us to be generous in sharing our faith with others so they might too partake in what we have found here. Now, there are three main ways that people say that they normally find us. One is our website, one is our visibility in the surrounding community, and the third is invitations and suggestions by friends and co-workers, neighbors, and family members. I've heard a number of people who've said that they've talked to someone who looks at them and says, "You're a Unitarian Universalist." And the person says, "What's that?" So first, our website is a key place for people who are searching, and it's highly important to make sure that we're keeping it up to date, informative, and welcoming. If anyone who's here this morning is interested in helping on that effort, please send an email to anybody on the coordinating team. That would be Kathy, our administrator, Debbie, Mackie, Marie, Arnold, or myself. And we have also a team that is dedicated to reaching out and spreading our good news via social media. Now, the second main way that people find us is our visibility in the surrounding community. This takes many forms, but one of our best is involvement in and support of social justice events and actions. Let's make sure that as we live out our faith and we walk the talk, as we do that, let's be clear who we are and why we're participating. For example, in an upcoming 5K run walk on November 1st to support the group Domestic Violence Solution, Liz Zock is the team captain, and we'll have a Live Oak team that will be walking, including me. Walking, not running. We need people to walk with us, to sponsor us, as we each need a minimum of $250 ahead of time in pledges, and we need people to cheer us on. Imagine if we all had our turquoise Live Oak t-shirts or our yellow Standing on the Side of Love t-shirts, or anything else that you might have that identifies you as a Unitarian Universalist, and you're down there and people see that and they think, wow, that's really a cool group. I wonder who they are. I'll check them out. And finally, the final main way of people learning about us is to be invited and told, you might be a UU. A few years back, the Unitarian Universalist Association held an advertising campaign with the slogan, "Imagine a religion." Anybody remember that? Yeah. It was a big thing. They had revival services and big billboards down in LA area. Imagine a religion. Imagine a religion where people of different beliefs worship as one faith. Imagine a religion where inspiration comes not from one, but from many spiritual sources. Imagine a religion that brings hope and healing to our world. My friends, we don't have to imagine it. We're living it. And it is for us to rejoice and share this unique faith with all those who we know. The membership ministry and I have designated every second Sunday for the whole year as Bring a Friend Sunday. And we'll share both worship and our delicious Super Sunday soup Super Sunday Soup, to all who join us. To help you even more to invite a friend, I have a gift for you that will be passed out after my sermon is done. I'll be passing out, or friends will be passing out wallet cards. So when you get the basket, take a packet of wallet cards and give these away to people you know. Take a pack of cards and try to hand out at least 3 cards this week, along with an invitation to please come and join us. Stand by this faith, work for it, and sacrifice for it. Be loyal to this faith which has placed before us the loftiest ideals, comforted us in sorrow, strengthened us for noble duty, and made the world beautiful. Do not demand immediate results, but rejoice that we are worthy enough to be entrusted with this great message, that you are strong enough to work for a great true principle without counting the cost. Let us all become Unitarian Universalist evangelists as we share our beloved faith and this beloved community of Live Oak with the world. Amen. For those who share their gifts, for we are enriched by their giving. And let us be grateful even for our needs, so that we may learn from the generosity of others. Our faith, this congregation, is dedicated to the proposition that behind all our differences, beneath all our diversity, there is a unity that makes us one and binds us forever together in spite of time and death and the space between the stars. We pause in silent witness to that unity. And may the blessings of love be upon you. May love's peace abide with you. And may love's presence illuminate your heart now and forevermore. So be it. Amen. And blessed be.